Hello, it is Michael Linton of Smart Classroom Management. Today's video is about how to effectively give consequences. Before you get there, however, please do me a favor and subscribe to this channel. Give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below. All that stuff really helps us to continue to provide these videos for free. So please do me a favor and do one of those three things and hopefully all of those three things. Okay, so on with the video. Everything we do at Smart Classroom Management is for maximum accountability and responsibility on students' shoulders. So we're always shifting responsibility over to students for listening, learning, and behaving. And what that does is it frees up to focus on our responsibility, which is to teach great lessons. And when there is a clear understanding of our roles and responsibilities between teacher and students, students tend to do a lot better. They always do better with more responsibility. It feels good. It gives them a greater sense of self-worth. In taking responsibility, it gives them energy and motivation and purpose. They always do better with greater responsibility. They always do worse when we take that responsibility away. So, in the way we give a consequence to students when they misbehave, when they break a class rule, and our classroom management calls for a consequence, whether that be a warning or a timeout or a contact with parents or a cycle back to timeout or whatever it is, we have to give a consequence in the exact same way every time. And again, we do it in a way that that results in maximum accountability and responsibility, whereby students are automatically compelled to reflect on their misbehavior and choose of their own accord not to do it again. So this is the goal with how we give consequences. We've been giving consequences in a particular way here at Smart Classroom Management for many, many years, decades even, and we've taught many hundreds and thousands of people to do it this way, and it is proven to be most effective. So here's how it works. The first thing is that you must model for your students, whether it's the beginning of the year or whether you are implementing a classroom management plan, one of our classroom management plans for the first time with your students. You want to model exactly what you will do when you're giving a consequence. Exactly, right down to exactly what you will say to students. This is all part of it. This is all part of heaping that responsibility on students. You're also going to model what the expectation of them is in the moment, what they are to do with this information, what is their role in that situation. If they misbehave and they receive a consequence, what are they to do with it? If they do go to timeout, how does that work exactly? So you'll model exactly how they go to timeout, how they receive a warning, what they're to do with it. Now, that particular topic about the kind of student's role in that we'll cover on another day. Today, we're just discussing what you do as a teacher in order to create, again, this feeling of responsibility on the students, rather than them blaming you for their misbehavior, blaming someone else in the class for their misbehavior. So we're gonna push that responsibility on them. A big part of that is how we give a consequence. So first step, again, you're going to model exactly what that looks like. And what it looks like, I'm going to show you. So you're going to know before the end of the video exactly how to do it and then what to model for your students. Number two is really the first thing you'll do is approach the student. So if a student is misbehaving, you'll pause, make sure that you are seeing what you're seeing, make sure that the rule is indeed being broken, and then you will approach the student, but only as far as when they notice you. Sometimes they'll look at you right away. So if you're consistently following through, they break a rule, they're going to look your way. It's a sign that you are consistent when students do this. They turn and look at you. So as soon as they make eye contact with you, you're going to stop. There's no reason, no need to approach any further. So if it's in the back of the room and you see it, you start moving toward that student. As soon as they see you and you make eye contact with them, you can stop moving. If they don't, then you'll continue forward and position yourself so they do see you. So you may have to move into their line of sight so they see you. There's no reason, though, to ever continue walking toward a student. There's no reason to get a close, because you're not going to lecture them about anything. We're going to talk about that in a minute. You're just going to inform them of a consequence. You're going to give them the facts. You are, and this is really important, you're going to deliver your consequence like a referee. A referee only follows the rules in the rule book, right? They don't judge the misbehavior. And that's the same with you. You're going to follow through like a good NFL referee. You're just going to, you see the foul and you follow through exactly how it's said in the book, exactly how the players are anticipating you do that. Same within your classroom. You're going to give the consequence like a referee. So you approach, they look at you, and then you deliver. And a deliver is just your line. You're going to say, you broke rule number 1 because you got out of your seat without permission, whatever it is. Rule number 2, you got out of your seat without permission, and you have a warning, or you have a timeout. And again, you're going to model, students are going to know exactly what to do with that, what they should think about, what you're giving them. So that's all taken care of ahead of time, not in the moment. So all you're going to do is approach. As soon as they see you, you're going to say, you have a warning because you broke rule number blank. Okay? Also, because you've modeled your classroom management plan, the rules of the class so extensively in the beginning of the school year, and we've talked about this in other videos, you don't have to specify. You can, to be clear, but typically they know the rule that they broke. And so you don't have to specify it. If there's any uncertainty, if you're teaching kindergarten, first grade, or you've just taught your plan to your students, then yes, you may have to say, or you may say, because you left your seat without permission. But typically they know it, and you don't have to say it. The fewer words you use, the better. In fact, you may get to the point, especially if you're teaching older students, where you make eye contact with them and maybe you make it just a little bit of a sign and they know that they received that next consequence. But to be clear, you have a warning because you broke rule number 4, whatever it is. Okay? So you deliver your line, and this is really critical. Number 4 is what you're not going to do. So you're going to refrain. You're never, ever, ever going to again, lecture a student. You're never going to tell them how they should think about their behavior in the moment, because you've already discussed that. They already know what they're going to be doing with that information, how they're to reflect on that information, and how they're disrupting the class affects their classmates, all that sort of thing. So you won't do that in the moment because you don't want to interrupt your class. You want to continue teaching. So you're just going to deliver your consequence, and that's it. So, no, you're not going to tell them what to think or how they should feel. You're not going to try to add to the consequence by lecturing, raising your voice, using sarcasm, glaring at them, anything like that. You're never going to say things like, oh, I told you you may not do that, and you're out of your seat, and this kind of thing. Because what that does is it pulls some of the responsibility off of them and onto your shoulders. It shows that you care more about their misbehavior than they should be caring about it. Okay, so you're just going to deliver. Refrain from, you're never going to pull them aside. You're not going to argue. You're not going to prove to them that they misbehaved. None of that. You see your rule broken and you go up and deliver your line. And then as soon as you do that, you're going to turn away. You're going to turn back away and then continue with whatever you were doing before. Continue with your lesson. So you'll deliver your line and then turn and walk away. You're never going to stand there and wait for their response or wait to see how they respond to it. Because when you do that, when you stand in front of a student, you give your consequence. A lot of teachers, most teachers will stand there and wait to see what the student does. And what this does is that it invites that student to explain themselves, argue with you, pull you into an argument. It's going to encourage them to, it can come off as aggressive when you're standing in front of them. And a lot of times they will fight back. There will be some resentment towards you rather than an acceptance of a consequence. And so never, never, never stay there because you're inviting more interruption. And the other thing is you need to get back to teaching. So you deliver your consequence, make eye contact, deliver your consequence, turn and walk away, and then immediately continue whatever you were doing as if nothing happened. As referees, we're not going to let this affect us emotionally either. We're just doing what we promised that we were going to do. Delivered in this way, sometimes we call it a matter-of-fact way, or even a robotic way when we give a consequence. Essentially what we're doing is we're not letting any of their misbehavior touch us in any way, get under our skin, in any way pull any of that responsibility for the misbehavior from the student to us. The other great thing about it, of course, is that it's quick. It takes a couple seconds, and then you're back to teaching. And then we continue on this way. And again, everything that we do, all the kind of supporting part of it, the way we teach our classroom management plan in detail, how we make sure that we have our boundaries are really clear, so there are no gray areas, so students know exactly when they break a rule. They know it so much that they can feel it. So they feel that they're breaking a rule. They know it. They've chosen it. And then they turn and the referee is just letting them know that, you're doing your part, you're doing your job and following through. And then they're left to deal with it. And that's when change happens. That's when maximum accountability, maximum responsibility, do their good work on the student intrinsically. So it stirs something inside of them, which leads to real change. The way most advice goes nowadays, the way that a lot of other classroom management programs go, it's different. We are constantly lightening the load on the students or creating friction with the student, creating resentment, between us and the student, and they're either sitting, seething in anger at you, or they're not taking any responsibility at all. So we're fixing both of those problems through, again, the way we give a consequence. Okay, I hope that helps. If you're not giving a consequence this way, start right away, model it first, start right away, and you'll begin seeing, I think, much better response to your consequences, not only in not arguing back, but in a change in behavior. That behavior is going to improve over time. If there is anything that you want us to cover, and again, there's lots related to this, and we will cover those things in future videos, but if there's anything that you want me to cover, a particular topic, please leave below. I'll read those comments, and I'll put your suggestion on the list for the future. All right, hope you're having a great week. See you next time.